Yeah, okay. She's got a new favorite place.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She's so nice.
She and Lisa are the ones that got me into this damn racket.
Oh.
Lisa knows exactly what I'm talking about. Damn it. Are we all ready? Now we have to blank.
Going to call this meeting to order. It's a 3 p.m. closed session special meeting of the, is it just the Stadium Authority? Yes, just a meeting of the Stadium Authority. We wear so many hats, I have to figure out which one it is. All right, confirmation of a quorum, City Clerk?
Mayor Gilmore, confirmation of a quorum. Also, the AB 23 announcement that members of the Santa Clara Stadium Authority, Sports and Open Space Authority, and Housing Authority are entitled to receive $30 for each attended meeting.
All right, so I'll announce the closed session. It's conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2, exposure to litigation, number of potential cases, 1, facts and circumstances, city and stadium authorities, potential defendants. April 12th, 2017 letter from Jeffer Mengels, Butler, and Mitchell LLP regarding Landmark Event Staffing Services, Inc. and 49er Stadium Management Company, LLC, threatening to file suit. Is there any public comment regarding this closed session matter? And I have a few cards here, so I'll call the individuals to come forward, and then anyone else would like to speak, they're welcome to come to the microphone. First, we have Ben Field. If you could go into the microphone, thank you.
Turn on. No, on the.
Oh, there you go.
There you
Thank
go.
you very much.
Thank you. Green means go. Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the Stadium Authority. My name is Ben Field. I represent the South Bay Labor Council. I wanted to thank the Stadium Authority for working to uphold your responsibilities to this community in this dispute about the security officer's contract. As you all know, the Stadium Authority has a responsibility to the community that includes ensuring that security at the stadium is adequately performed, that the workers are treated well, and that the Stadium Authority itself does not get strong-armed by the contractor. Landmark, the current contractor, has really made this a dispute about labor, but it is much more than that. You have an interest in performance guidelines that help you ensure the adequate security of the facility that you have a responsibility for. Now, I want to say a little bit about Landmark's bullying tactics here. They've written you a letter in which they threaten to sue you for contract violation and also unlawful economic interference. The letter really is more bluster than anything else, since there was no contract and since you haven't done anything wrong that would justify an action for economic interference. I think it's useful to think to yourselves about what a judge would say if a judge heard such a case. You're going to go into court and you're going to tell them that all you wanted was adequate performance guidelines to ensure adequate security at your facility, that you wanted to make sure that the workers were treated well, and that you wanted to make sure that you, as a stadium authority, weren't bullied or strong-armed into entering into contracts that were not in the public's interest. And a judge is going to second-guess you when you tell the judge that? I don't think so. Landmark has made this an easy decision by writing in their letter that they cannot and will not perform further services at the stadium. So I think that the choice is easy, to go with someone else for a one-year contract and then to revise your performance guidelines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mark Sharwood?
Thank you. This is my third week in a row being here, and I'm pleased to be here again with all of you. I really echo what Ben Field just said. We were dismayed by the letter that Landmark sent. We think it was not a responsible position to be threatening to sue the city and walk away from a contract that they had bid for and bid awarded. So we do support the proposal that was made at the previous meeting to have a one-year contract to enable the city to revise its bidding and procurement standards for potentially labor peace, living wage, responsible performance guidelines, and we think that's the right way to go. And as Ben said, there are, to my knowledge, at least 2 other companies that are here today that would be prepared to step up and perform their services. So we think that's the right thing to do, and all in the name of providing a better experience for the fans, protecting the city from problems at the stadium. So we think that's the right thing to do, and we would urge you very much to do that. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Corey Meredith? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. My name is Corey Meredith. I'm the president of Staff Pro. Staff Pro is a company that provides the same service as Landmark. We've been around 30 years and probably the second largest in the United States. And we did do an RFP, and we went through the RFP process, and it was a good process. I felt it was a very fair process and well thought out and very well done. And I think that Landmark's a good choice. I know the principals very well and work side by side with them, and there's not a lot of us that do this type of work across the United States, especially something this large. It has a large number needed, but yet only a few events a year. There's only a few of us who really know how to do that. But I'm here to let you know we have a viable option. We'd embrace the opportunity to talk. If something falls to this Landmark, we want you to know that we're here. And also, if you have any questions I can answer, I'll be here to answer any questions. But we'd love the opportunity to work with you and love your stadium. It's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Excuse me for 1 second. Stadium member Mahan, did you have a question of this speaker?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So is your company totally union, and all the workers at the stadium would be union members?
No, that hasn't come up. I don't remember exactly what it said inside of the RFP, but it's usually driven by the RFP.
Okay, the union, it wasn't required, because legally, as a city, we cannot require it as a condition of RFP. So what I'm asking for, would you be providing union members to work the security at the stadium?
Well, it depends on the RFP set up, and it would be depending on exactly the costs and negotiations with the management company.
So not necessarily is your answer.
Not necessarily. We have some contracts. Most of our contracts are non-union. We do the Oakland A's. The Oakland A's, we have about 650 employees. About 80% of those are unionized.
Okay, thank you.
Huh?
I have a question for you also, sir.
Yes.
Do you work with a minority-owned business association?
There are certain RFPs that go out across the nation that require that. So we go out and find a partner, and we'll partnership with a local. They're on the approved list.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, Mac Young.
I bring you greetings and salutations from 3,000 labor members in the Silicon Valley. I'm here today because, as we stated, and I think everybody remembers from previous engagements, I am a union member. And as of present, I am in a stage of limbo. We, 3,000 strong security officers in Silicon Valley, wants to become unionized. We are going to become unionized. So for those who are coming into our valley thinking they can come in non-union, hold your horses. We're in the process of negotiating and learning to bargain our rights as a union in Silicon Valley. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm not a crook. I don't want the table. I want a seat at the table. I don't want a handout. I want a hand up. We cannot afford to work for 6 to 7 weeks and not be able to go to a doctor. A $5,000 copay, as I told you all before when I was in here, cannot be something that we can accept. We don't want the table. We want a right to be unionized. We want union workers in Levi Stadium. We want union workers throughout Silicon Valley. My thing is, I am blue and white union. I was union with the railroad, I was union in construction. I know what it's like to have the benefits that are due a union worker. I also know what it feels like now to be non-unionized and not have those same rights and benefits. We need to stick by our guns, and we need to be union 100% in the Silicon Valley. If you want to come into the Silicon Valley to work, come into Silicon Valley as a union member, somebody willing to take on a union. Thank you, and have a nice evening. Hope everybody had a nice Easter.
Nice seeing you again. Thank you. Bob Emmett? Good afternoon.
Hello, my name is Bob. I'm a security officer in Silicon Valley, and I work for Allied Universal. I have been a union member in the past. It's been a long time. I'm old enough to remember when this country was like when unions were strong. We had a middle class that was literally the wonder of the world. We had a working class that could afford to own a home, often with one breadwinner in the family. I'm looking forward to being a member of the union again. I support the right of security officers at Levi's Stadium, and I think they should have the same union benefits that I will have shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming. Kristen Roberts? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor, members of the Stadium Authority. My name is Kristen Roberts. I am here on behalf of Elite Show Services. Elite was the incumbent security provider at Levi's Stadium, where they provided security and event staffing for the last 3 years. Elite did respond to the most recent RFP for security services at Levi's Stadium in good faith and with a desire to continue services. Elite wants the city to know that we are still available to help the city with its security and staffing needs at Levi's Stadium. Based on the letter that we were made privy to as well, we understand that it is Landmark's intent to withdraw its services from, withdraw its bid from the contracting of services at Levi's Stadium. According to that letter, it was largely based on the city's desire for a shorter one-year term and the city's request that Landmark unionize its employees. Elite has a longstanding relationship with the SEIU and has had staff work under a collective bargaining agreement with SEIU for well over a decade in providing services to another NFL team in California. We're very proud of our work at Levi's Stadium and performed at the highest level over the last 3 years, as evidenced by the top rating in the NFL best practices in stadium security and the granting of Safety Act designation to the 49ers by Homeland Security. Neither of these ratings or designations would have been possible had Elite not performed at the highest level. Elite was the best option to provide services over the past 3 years, and in our opinion, it still is. We're easy to work with, flexible to any contract duration that the city of Santa Clara desires, and we're not opposed to entering into a collective bargaining agreement with the SEIU. Thank you very much for your
Thank you.
time.
I think Authority Member Mahan has a question.
Sure.
So when your workers were at the stadium, were they unionized?
I can't actually speak to them. Actually, I represent Elite Show Services. I'm outside counsel. They last minute flew me up here to be able to address you all today, to just let you know that we know what the
How would we find out the answer to that
I
question?
can get that information for you, and
Okay, well, in the next few minutes, that
yeah,
would be great.
if that's all right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does someone else have the answer? Oh, please come forward.
Benfield, South Bay Labor Council, the answer is no.
Okay, thank you. Nancy Biagini. And then I don't have any other cards. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi.
Oh, that is loud. Not that I normally need a microphone. Y'all know I'm a native Santa Claran, and now that I'm retired, I have much more time to devote to my native city that I love. I agree with the folks that have talked before me, so I don't think I necessarily need to get into repeating some of what they said, other than to say, focus on something different. all right? Landmark's performance has just plain been substandard. And I think a lot of the focus, when I look at the letter that Landmark wrote dated April 12th, seems to be on the union issue. And I have to tell you, as a longtime union representative, when I read things that say, despite extensive evidence that there is no benefit which unionization can confer on Landmark employees, frankly, I find that just this side of humorous. I think if I talked to Landmark employees and said, hey, would you like a raise? That's what unionization can give you. I don't think they'd say, no, that's not a good benefit. Beyond that, though, it's the substandard performance, and I can't think of any place I've ever worked, union or otherwise, where substandard performance was okay. If that's what we get from Landmark, then I think it's time to say goodbye, and there are alternatives. I'm especially distressed when I see how much time, well, let me put it differently, how little time Landmark confers when they want to talk about proposing contracts right before some sort of renewal comes up or an upcoming event. I find that to be a bullying tactic, and if there's one thing that any of you up there may already know, when it comes to bullies, I'm not impressed. And I get a little ticked off. That's frankly where I see this issue with Landmark. And in closing, all I can say is when their letter talks about Landmark cannot and will not provide services to Levi's Stadium, notwithstanding the bullying threats of a lawsuit, I would say to you, they don't want to provide services. My only comment to Landmark, goodbye, Godspeed. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak before we go into closed session? Okay, we are going to now move into closed session.